Good morning all, welcome back to SewGrannySew. Also welcome back to our second project in our sewing room makeover series. So I have all my fabrics came in, the rest of them came in today. So this is what the fabric that we will be making the curtains out of. But I do have about 60 inches left of that because that was a fairly good sized piece. And then I also have my blue one, like the gray grid that we use on our sewing machine cover, slip cover. And then I had gotten in some more of the coral or orange. It's really pretty color in person. I don't know if that portrays well in the video. And then I do have some of this left. So I went ahead and I cut out the pieces of the quilt panel that I'm going to utilize on this. So I cut them out according to what I want to store in it. So this piece here is a bigger piece, nice and long and a little bit thicker. So I'm going to put my 6 by 24 inch ruler because it's constantly in my way or when I'm utilizing it. So that'd be a perfect place for that. We're going to have a pocket for some pens and pencils, which I'm always using. A pocket for my scissors, rotary cutter, some scratch paper. And then I'm going to add this little pocket, bigger pocket at the bottom. So we're going to set this aside. The measurement I had come up with on what size I want this to be. And yours could vary. It all depends on what, where you're putting it, what you want to put into it. But the size I come up with was approximately 20 by about 25, I suppose. And I do have plenty of this fabric here, so I think I'm going to make, and the panels do match that quite well. So I think I'm going to use this fabric for the background of the pockets with some trim in that color. The next thing we're going to need is something to make our panel a little bit thicker. So you can use 808 craft fuse, that's a little bit thicker. You could use, they have something else, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment. Some foam, fusing if you'd like. You could use fleece fusing. However, I'm just using this to stiffen it up a little bit because I will have several things in there. And then I'm also going to put some batting in it to thicken it up even more. So as you can see, this craft fuse has got a shiny side and a non-shiny side. This is a one-sided fusing. Once again, this is an 808 craft fuse. So we'll go ahead and we will cut out our fabric at about 21 by 26, and we'll iron this with the shiny side down on the back of the fabric until we have that covered. So I'll go ahead and I will get that done and I will meet you back here. The front is all done. I got the fuse, the 808 fusing on the back. So now I just have it laid down. I don't know if you can see this here. Onto our, I decided to go with the gray for the lining because it's a fact I want to line the pockets and I want to leave some of that lining showing to add a little contrast and color. So we're just going to go ahead and cut around that top piece to get our backing cut out. Up with 24 by, I think it's 25 and a half. Yep, 24 by 25 and a half. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we will be binding it. Okay, so now that we have that cut out, we're going to go ahead and cut out our a piece of batting. And I am just going to, once again, use my quilt batting in the same size as that. So I'll go ahead and get that cut out. We have our batting, our front, and our backing all cut out. So now we're just going to lay down our backing. And we are going to lay that with the wrong side down. Then we're going to put our batting on it. And I'm going to put the scrim towards the top because we will be quilting this in. Now put our top on. If you want to pin it together, you certainly can. It is going to be a little harder to pin together because you got so many layers there. Let me see if I can turn this a little bit so you can see. So we're just going to go at the corner. I guess it's not so hard to pin it together, so that's good. So I'm going to pin, once again, in between my designs, because when I quilt, I'm just going to go right down and I'm just going to pretend like it's a straight line. I know it's not, but I'm just going to pretend like it is. And I'm going to do about every other one. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting it all pinned in. I'm going to bring it to the sewing machine and I'm just going to start stitching. A line there, skip a line, a line there, skip a line, and keep doing it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done and I will meet you back here. So we have our stitching done on it. So I just did, like I said, up and down the lines just like I did on the sewing machine cover. And then you'll have your extra batting showing and so forth. You have all the edges sewn in, so it's easier to trim up. So when we trim it up, as you can see, like I'll use this corner for example, it's on the orange here, but you flip it over and it missed the gray. So we need to make sure that our edges are nice and even. So I'm going to turn this quick. So I'm going to start off with putting it on the cutting board, lining up my ruler with it, and trimming that down up from end to end. Okay, and we'll go around all 4 sides doing that. So now that we have that done, and I'm going to turn it this way so you can see. We have our lining and we have our pockets. So we got to decide exactly how big we want these pockets. Okay, much better. Then we got a 1/4 inch here for when we put that lining on. That can be sewn in without losing the design. Then we'll flip it over and trim up this side. So now we're nice and straight, although the design doesn't show we're straight, but it's straight. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out a piece of this fabric that we're going to use for the lining to be the same size as this. So if you wanted to thicken your pocket, you could certainly do that with some fusing. Once we have our pockets cut out, both the front and the lining, we're going to go ahead and put them right sides together, and we're going to go to the sewing machine, and we're going to take a 1/4 inch seam all along just the top side. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, now that we have that 1/4 inch seam in there, we're going to go ahead and turn it the right way. And we are going to roll that seam a little bit, not too much because we're not going to stop there. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up these sides with the front and the back, and we're going to make that lining show a little bit for a trim. And you can go as much or as little bit as you want to. I just want a little bit to pop through. And then once we have that done, we're going to take that to the ironing board and we're going to iron that flat. So we have our inside seam was ironed open. And then we went ahead and put that fold in there and ironed that flat. And we are going to bring that to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch that down. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done and I'll bring you back here because then we're going to finish up the size of the pocket. Once we have that top stitch put on there like that, we're going to go ahead and line it up. We're going to bring it to the ironing board and we're going to fold that in a 1/4 inch all on all the sides with this excess at this, with the excess at this end here. We're just going to flip that over and flip it over again, and we're going to iron that. If you need to pin any of this, go ahead. If you need to clip it, you can do that as well. Once we get it all ironed into place, then we're going to go ahead and get our backing out, and we're going to top stitch that down onto our backing. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all ironed up, bring the backing back, and I'll show you what I mean. Pocket, if you look at that, I just put it in. I went a little more than a 1/4 inch on the sides because I'm trying to fit those pockets already pre-planned in there. So we know we're going to have a binding around the edges, so we do want to go in or leave enough room for that. So we're just going to lay that on there. You want to make sure when you stitch it on that you're using I'm going to stitch mine with a double stitch. So one on the way outside and one about a 1/4 inch in. And I'm going to do that all the way around to all 3 sides. So I'm going to go ahead and let you work on your pockets now that you know how I'm making them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my pockets made up, get them sewn on, and I will meet you back here. I have all the pockets sewn on now. I did not get all 7 pockets on. I only got 6, but I'm okay with that because there was just going to be 1 extra. But all the pockets I do have on does indeed fit all the things I wanted to store in here. I did have to situate them because this will not fit into this one, but the pens and pencils fit great. We got scissors. We got our long ruler, which was a big thing I needed to get in there, and then of course some paper. So all we have left to do now is put our binding on the edge, and we're going to get started with that, but I want to go over a little bit of how you can hang this. So once you get your binding on, you could take the top edge and sew some Velcro on the back and then stick the other Velcro to whatever surface you're sticking it on. You could also do a little pocket on the back and put a magnetic strip and put magnet on the back. Or if you have a grommet gun, you could do some grommets on there and hang little hooks to hang it from as well. So it's up to you how you want to hang it. I was thinking I was going to do Velcro on the edge because I have Velcro, but also it's on my cutting table, and with fabric brushing across, I do work with some fleece and flannel. I don't want that Velcro catching it and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and order in some magnet to put mine up with. But in the meantime, we need to get this binded. So I have some strips here. Now I watched a video quite a while back, a couple years ago, and she used 3-inch strips. I don't want that big. I have, it's actually 1 5/8 inch. And all you're going to do is you're going to fold that in half with wrong sides together like that and iron that flat. But before we get to that part, we are going to connect. So I have 2 long and 2 shorter. So I'm just going to take 1 long, sew a short one on it. You can do it this way, which is what I'm going to do. And then just I do a 1/2 inch seam on my binding when I'm putting it together. That way when you open it, it's nice and secure when you stitch it down. But you can also do it in this way and sew a diagonal line from here to here, and then when you open it up, it's still one continuous pleat. It just blends in better, but mine, I'm not worried about it blending in because of the pattern that's on it. I'm quite fine with that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to keep connecting it until I got all 4 strips connected into one big long piece. I'll get those ironed open. I'll get it ironed in half, and I will meet you back here. So I have the binding all made up now, all into one big long strip. It's folded in half and ironed flat. When you put your binding on, you're going to start by putting it there and flipping it down and sewing a 1/4 inch in. So when you flip it over, you're just going to have a little bit on the back side. But that is how we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to start mine, or because this pocket is going to have the thicker objects inside of it, I'm going to start my end right on this one, and we're going to open that up, fold that in, fold that back up, and then we're going to clip that into place. So you can pin it, clip it, whatever you want to do. I'm going to use some clips here. Okay, and then we're just going to go all the way along, and we're going to clip that right up to the edge. Okay, I'm going to turn this here so you can see it. So once we get to the corner, we are going to clip that on there. But we are going to sew up to 1/4 of an inch. This is kind of nice fabric because it's all marked off. We're going to sew up to 1/4 of an inch away. And then we're going to take it off the machine. We're going to fold it this way. I'll take that off for a minute so you can see. Fold it this way so it runs parallel with that. And then fold it back down. And then start sewing there again, 1/4 inch away. So it kind of tapers the corners. So it really helps when you're wanting that perfect corner to fold over to the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew mine on there on the front side. And then I'm going to bring you back so you can see how we're going to flip it over and attach it to the back side. So we have the binding sewn onto the front. I did want to show you. So when I forgot to tell you that when you start this, you want to start back a little ways before you put this end on. So you don't stitch that first part when you first start off. Go ahead and stitch all the way around. And when you come back to, you're going to trim up your binding and then fold that end under and then tuck it inside this end and stitch over it. That way it comes out where it's already all finished and ready to go. So now we are just going to flip it over, get them pins back out, and we're just going to take our binding, fold that down, and if that's too bulky for you, you can always trim some of that out of there where you have that seam from meeting up the binding. Then when you get to the corner, you can see it does flip right up and it forms a corner on it. Let me trim that off there. I got some loose thread. And then you can just take the other side, flip it over that, and form your little corner. And continue down the next side. So when I sew it on, I like to sew from the back and I just go right along that edge, making sure to cover up that seam we put in from attaching it to the front. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all sewn on and we'll bring it back. I'll show you the finished product. We have our storage pockets done. So they are fully done except for we don't have a way to hang yet. So I think I will be putting a pocket at the top and then just putting a strip of magnet through it. And then also attaching a pocket to the edge of my cabinet because like I said, if I put Velcro on that, because I do actively sew with fleece and flannel, I'm afraid it would just get gunked up from that fabric. So I think I'm going to go with a magnet route. Like I said, you could always put your little grommets at the top and hang it on hooks if you wanted to, the little hooks like you get for a cup cupboard. That would be fine too. It is a bit stiffer. That's what we wanted. You can bend it, but it is still stiffer. You could actually launder this in the wash machine if it got dirty and you wanted to do so. I think one thing I am going to do is go ahead and put another stitch around all of the pockets to ensure they hold up quite well. Other than that, I think it's ready to go, guys. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. As always, if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we'd love to have you here at SewGrannySew. Thanks all. Have a good day. Bye.